Thank you. Okay, so here in this place, we have some quotes taken out from the podcast. The podcast hosts were Sam and Rob, and they have some guests, some specialists, and they had Shari, and they had also Jenny Ratcliffe. So here are the things they said. Example, Sam, we might think that we'll never be scammed, but already millions of people have fallen for fake emails. And Rob, this year, for example, thousands of people in the UK fell for fraudulent or fake email, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what we have here are the quotes. What is a quote? What's a quote? Here we have quotes. Usually quotes are in quotation marks.
Comillas.
Yes, in quotation marks. These are quotation marks. And a quote is something that someone said, okay? Something that someone said. For example, there are people who like to, when they read a book, they like to underline some quotes, okay? For example, I remember one quote from Gandalf, Lord of the Rings. He said, not all who wander are lost. No todos los que deambulan están perdidos. I remember that because it's one of my favorite quotes. So in this case, these are quotes. They are taking directly from what they said. And in this unit, we're going to refresh something from, I think it was last year. I think we checked this. Maybe, I'm not sure about this. I can't remember well because last year was a bit of a complicated year. But what we're going to do now is the following thing. When we see reporting programs like TVN, 24 Horas, etc., we have reporters. And let's say, for example, there is a reporter talking about something that happened in education, or let's say the conventional constitution. Yeah, the conventional constitution. And they are talking about something, and then they say what the president of the constitution of the convention said. Okay, when someone takes the words from another person, when someone takes the word from another person, that is called a reported statement. So for example, I'm gonna take what Sam said. This is what Sam said. We may think blah 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 blah. I'm gonna write here with a different color what he said in my own words. Sam said that that we might think that we would never be scammed, but already millions of people had fallen for fake emails. No quotation marks because this is not a quote. This is, I'm taking what he said. Okay, what differences can you see? Are they the same?
No, cambió will por would.
Okay, here, thank you. Anything else?
Y have por had.
Yes. Perfect. Yep. What else? Any other difference? There's one more.
I might.
Might for May. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna take the number 2 now. Number 2 is very simple. Let's use number 6, Jenny Ratcliffe. Okay, Jenny Ratcliffe. She said it's fraud. Okay, blah 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 blah. Okay, so we're gonna take that. Jenny Jenny Radcliffe said that it was a fraud, fraud that could be layered. So we were getting some information from you. Okay. Okay, the chat. Was and could. Perfect. Okay, good eye. Okay, so I'm using here was instead of this one is could instead of can. Yeah. And also I'm changing are for where. That's it. Okay. So what I'm doing here has a specific name. Do you remember the name of what I'm doing here? Do you remember anything about this? Yes or no?
Sí, pero no recuerdo el nombre.
Okay. The name is not relevant. Actually, it's not relevant at all. We don't like the name. We're using the verbs here, and this is reporting. Okay. What I'm doing is reporting. I'm reporting what other person said, and I'm putting it on my own words. Okay. So when we do that, like in this case, that is called the reported speech. The name is not relevant again. Is the function we are doing. We are reporting the words of another person. And when we do that, we can watch that later. Teacher Diane, when we use it is we want to tell to other people what another person has said. Okay. And for that, we are using reporting verbs, and these reporting verbs, I should probably remember, are say and tell, and also ask, and some other reporting verbs. Okay, for example, what we have here, this is called direct speech. Okay, this is the direct speech. Direct speech. Lo directo, lo que él dijo. But what I did previously, this is called the reported speech. Because these are not my words. I took them from Sam and I put Sam said blah, 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 blah. And when I do that, when I use the reported speech or when I'm reporting the words from another person, it's my obligation to change some things, okay? So probably you remember the back shift, okay? So Javiera and also Janela mentioned some words that I changed, and I didn't change them because I didn't like them, and I didn't change them just because. I changed them because there is something like a rule called the backshift. And every time you are reporting or using the indirect speech or reported speech, which is the same, it's your obligation to change, okay? So for example, there was a part that said, here, for example, I'm exhausted. Let's say that Martina is running and she says, I'm exhausted, please give me a break. And then Janela reports and tells the same to Consul. Hey, Martina's teacher, excuse me, Martina said that she was exhausted. Okay. So she's reporting and she's changing the verb. And there's an equivalency. The present simple changes to the past simple, present continuous to past continuous, and so on. Okay. You saw me changing will for would. Yeah, I changed it for would. Let's say that you are doing an activity that you don't understand. You're doing homework and you don't understand. And then the teacher says, hey, don't worry, I will help you tomorrow. Then you get home and your mom asks or your dad, hey, what happened to the homework? Yeah, my teacher told me that he would help me tomorrow. Teacher told me that he would help me tomorrow. So you are reporting what he said. and that's for that reason you are changing will for would. Same thing for with may, you saw me changing it for might, and so on. Do you remember anything now? Beautiful people, do you remember anything now?
Sí, ahora sí.
Okay, just a little bit maybe. Okay, you don't worry about this because I'm going to leave you an activity in Google Classroom so you can refresh some stuff and we can come back the next week a bit more on the ground with this. Okay, so people, I'm going to leave it here. I have a meeting at 5:30. I'm going to leave it up to here, and this is what we're going to do now. In this unit, remember there is one test, and I'm going to divide the test into a dialogue. Okay, a dialogue. It could be a dialogue video if you want, and also a mini test of vocabulary. What do you think?
¿Separar la prueba en dos, profe, o cómo?
Sí, separa en dos partes, 50 y 50%.
Y el diálogo sería como lo que estaba en el ejemplo.
Algo escrito, cortito, se puede grabar en audio incluso. Ya, se puede grabar en audio. No es necesario hacerlo en video. Si quieres hacerlo en video, lo haces en video. Pero me interesa la voz. ¿Ya? Vamos a ver más detalles pronto. Y lo bueno es que como son dos unidades largas, así que queda mucho tiempo para eso todavía. ¿Ya? Pero lo comentó más que nada. People, enjoy your rest of the day. Next week, remember the presencial group. No, the remote group. This Wednesday, you don't have English. Okay? Martina, Yanela.
Ok, profe.
Ya, profe.
Yeah, you don't have English because we are going to have it on Monday. Al final nunca me mandaron la idea del tema de la charla de Pedro Valdivia, así que bueno, papu.
Así nomás, pues.
Sí, no la mandaron de la misma universidad, así que blur. Bueno, así nomás. Ya, oigan, se me cuidan. Y oigan, otra cosita, le encargo, hoy día ya algunos me comentaron, algunas, si ven dificultades con el horario de choque o cosas raras que no le acomoden, me comentan, ¿ya? Para ver si se puede ir ajustando o algo así. Big hugs, enjoy the holidays. Enjoy the rest of the day. See you around.
Chao, teacher,
Ya, profe.
cuídese.
Chao, teacher.
See ya.
Chao, profe.
See ya. See ya, Connie.